What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNVDE Drivers Edition. I know you clicked on this video because of the title, and we're talking about the 2023 Corvette C8 Z06 and when you should possibly buy one. Well, let's be real. How much at this point in time is a good price, or maybe even going for the next 4 to 6 months to buy a C8 Z06? So let's get into it. Okay, so there's a lot going on, and in order to really address this topic, you have to understand what has taken place. So let's take a little step back and talk about how we got here. Well, the 2023 Corvette C8 Z06 production was delayed from last fall in 2022 when it was supposed to start getting made to it got postponed until 2023 January. There was a small few amount of Corvettes that was actually taken in, or should I say Z06 orders that was taken in and built prior to that. And because of that, and like I've explained before in previous videos, that every unit that got picked up wasn't a sold unit, and we were going to see some crazy markups. Well, the $100,000 markups came out, and believe it or not, people still bought C8 Z06s. Now, for a lot of you, that's crazy because you can't understand how a person spends an extra $100,000 over MSRP for C8 Z06. But the best way I can explain this to you is I've made it and stated it in other videos before that the C8 Z06 buyer isn't your traditional Corvette buyer. And what I mean by traditional is they're not looking at the heritage, the legacy, and they probably aren't a long time. Well, let me rephrase that. Most of them aren't a long time Corvette owner. This is truly about this specific car. And so when you see the $100,000 markups and people buying the cars like crazy, it isn't really based off the fact that the desire to own the car is there. These are the people that really have money to waste or spend, typical supercar owners who are looking at the Corvette C8 Z06 and the ownership within the first 6 to 10 months as a flex. So they're buying these cars pretty much to show you that they can and because you can't. So understand that. So if you feel differently about it, say something in the comments, but I want most people watching this video to understand the $100,000 buyer, which I even said $100,000 over MSRP multiple times in 2021, 2022, and again in 2023 is absurd. I expected the car to sell over MSRP, but to constantly sell 100,000 over MSRP, that is unheard of, and I don't expect that to last longer than 6 to 8 months. And I repeat it again, longer than 6 to 8 months. That's always been my prediction, and I've stated that before based off these small market buyers. I think this is the perfect time to take a quick break and ask you guys to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button if you like the content you've seen so far, and join the ICNVDE Driver Edition community. Subscribe to the channel. Continue to help us grow, but also by joining the community, it's an interactive community. So if you leave a comment below, I will gladly respond. And if there's something you would like to talk about, hit me up on one of my social media platforms. I'll gladly get back to you with an answer, and possibly I'll make a video about the topic and drop it amongst the other videos and content that we have coming your way. So join the ICNVDE Driver Edition community. But for now, let's get back to this video. So now that we discussed that aspect and got that out the way, let's talk about this. The reason I've even brought this topic up is because many of you are asking me, what's up with the crazy markups? and what is really a good price to buy? I received this kind of questioning from several of my friends, several of you followers, and just several people that actually seen a video talking about the crazy markups before from my channel. And let's get into this. The only way I feel we can dive into this is to understand what took place. And I said that again, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, huh? What took place on this aspect is Corvette production was extended. So 2023 is going to be the standout year for the Corvette C8 production. And I want you to understand that is very significant. 2023 is the 7th anniversary of Corvettes, period. So it makes complete sense that GM wanted to produce the most Corvette C8s for 2023. And to accomplish that, they had to extend Corvette production. So as we look at it today, we are over a year into production of the Corvette C8 for 2023 model year. It has been the longest running production cycle as of yet for the C8. And even with that done, GM has now produced over 40,000 Corvettes. So I know many of you who follow my channel all the time are going to say, we told you they were going to mass produce the car, start pushing out 40,000 units a year, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Well, I have a news flash for you. By extending the 2023 Corvette production model year, and truthfully as of right now, probably about, I would say 11,000 of these units, technically we should be 2024 model year cars, but we'll stay away from that. Also, that means the 2024 model year production will be smaller. And I think that is a significant factor. I've actually been talking to one of my friends who kind of just recently retired from the GM business, but he had several contacts inside of General Motors, and he was my source for the long time. And we recently spoke around the holidays. And what he said to me was, you're witnessing a new approach on business. Now, it's not like it hasn't happened before, but again, there wasn't a crazy hype to follow it. So this is happening for the first time for a lot of people. GM is pushing out a lot of the base C8s. This is probably going to be the biggest run cycle for the base C8. And the purpose of it is, in order to build more versions of the C8 coming forth in the future, they have to almost knock down a large portion of the demand for the base C8. Mainly because to build the C8 Z06 and the upcoming C8 E-Ray takes a longer production cycle than it will for base C8. And by adding them to the Corvette line, you're almost knocking off 2 or 3 cars per hour worth of production. So if they can move a lot of units today, the reduction in units going forward won't be noticed. And I said, wow, that's amazing, because I had a similar theory once I realized they were closing in on 40,000 units in the month of June. So this conversation became very interesting because I've stated before, I felt like GM was going to struggle to build 6,000 Corvette C8 Z06s per model year. But if this new approach, 6,000 may not be that hard to accomplish, especially since now, based off the information that has been released as of July 1st of 2023, there is over 3,700 C8 Z06s built for the 2023 model year. And with another month and a half left, I almost expect them to close in on 4,500, if not 5,000 Corvette C8 Z06s built for the year. So with that being said, and them refining the process, I can almost expect an additional 2,500 units for the 2024 model year if they run a normal production cycle. But with the reduction in units because of the extended 2023 model year, I expect them possibly to close back in or mirror the same numbers or very close to whatever they produced in 2023. So I'm making a projection as of right now. I'm expecting to see for the 2024 model year somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 C8 Z06s, and probably anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 C8 E-Rays on the street. And that will bring you somewhere around, let's just say, 10 to 12,000 units from those two cars alone. I expect possibly another 20,000 Corvette C8s to be produced for the year. So I don't expect them to eclipse 30,000 units again, but it wouldn't surprise me if for 2024 GM can somehow, some way, find a way to produce 30,000 Corvette C8s overall combined, Stingray model, Z06, and E-Ray. And that's kind of the production schedule I expect to continue going forward. So what does this mean for the right price to buy? That's the topic you all came here for. So in my opinion, with all this information we just discussed, what it means going forward is the question I've been hearing and I've been asked by so many people, including other YouTubers and fellow friends of mine, is the C8 MSRP markup is going down. All you have to do is wait a year and you should be able to get one for MSRP. Please understand this. The C8 Z06 is not the C8 Stingray. So there's only so much information we can utilize between the two. But what I will sit there and say to you is, as stated earlier in this video, the $100,000 markups are absurd, and I never expected them to last longer than 6 to 8 months. We are closing in on that time frame, and as you see, some of them are slowly dwindling down. We're starting to see more $75,000 and $70,000 over MSRP markups, which I expected. The $50,000 markup range, I feel like is the range that you're going to possibly see until GM somehow, some way finds a way to put 10,000 production unit C8 Z06s on the street. Once 10,000 C8 Z06s hit the street, the $50,000 markup should slowly start to fade. The reason why I say that is because a lot of dealerships, and hear me when I say this, a lot of dealerships already have multiple people, up to 100 people, some dealerships even 1,000 people that have committed to buying the car for $50,000 over MSRP. So my question to you is, if you already committed to buying the car for 50 grand over, why would I let you build it and sell it to you for less? What's going to end up happening is either that customer is going to commit to buying the C8 Z06 for $50,000 over MSRP for the spec they want, or the dealership will then decide to take that allocation, build the car the way they want it built, and then possibly sell it for $35,000 over MSRP. And you ask, why would a dealer do this? Because ultimately, if I advertise the car for $50,000 over MSRP and put OBO, which is or best offer, many people will start to shoot numbers at the dealer to obtain the car. Dealers have always had Corvettes that were previously built and sold if you go back to prior to COVID shutdown. So a dealership building a car and selling the car that's already built isn't absurd and it isn't crazy. And if this is what happens, you can expect dealers to go out and mark the car for $50,000, put or best offer, and then find a way to get the best offer off the economy, which I will believe will probably be somewhere around $35,000 above MSRP. Why do I get to this $35,000 number? It's because most of the longest lists, and we go back to the dealer list again, most of the longest list for Corvette owners with some form of markup is around $35K, $25K, and MSRP. The MSRP dealers have ridiculous amount of people on their list. We're talking about one location has 5,000, another has 3,000, another has close to 2,800. Realistically, these dealers would never see those units for all the people they have sitting on the list today. So understanding that these other dealers have an option or opportunity to make money. The list that I follow up after that are dealers that said 10,000 over MSRP, 25,000 over MSRP, and 35,000 over MSRP. I know 2 dealers as of right now that say 35,000 over MSRP, and they have close to 1,000 people on their list, and they would never see 1,000 units. So if you ask me, the $35,000 markup is probably going to be the normal markup you see for the C8 Z06. And if you go back to the Corvette Stingray, remember they were floating at 40,000 over MSRP for almost 2 years, and they were still moving. So that to me is the sweet spot. There will be several people that get cars for MSRP. There will be several people that get them for 10 and 20 grand over MSRP, and possibly even lower than that. I don't expect the cars to sell under MSRP without any type of damage, and I don't expect anybody who's on a list committed to 25,000 or more to actually get a car for less than that. But you tell me what you think in the information below. You tell me in the comments below what you believe the pricing is going to be. But if you're asking me, I'm telling you now, my prediction, and I haven't been wrong with most of this, my prediction is going forward for the next 18 months. So let's just say into 2025, March, I expect the Corvette C8 Z06 to sell somewhere around 35,000 over MSRP. If you're looking to get one today within the next 2 to 3 months, I tell you right now, expect the $50,000 price range to hold strong. If you're not a $50,000 buyer, you may want to see how it plays out next summer, or really I would say next fall. That may be the optimal time for you to find one in the 30s and possibly even $25,000 range. But I think the predominant number for the 2025 Corvette C8 Z06 is going to be $35,000 over MSRP. Well, that's my prediction. And I will also say with that prediction, we will be somewhere at that point right around 20,000 units on the street. So ICNV Drive Distance, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Drive Distance community. This is an interactive community. And if you bring up a question or reach out to me on any one of my social media sites, and just like this one, I'll create a video and get the community involved and see what they have to say. But until the next upload, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in these streets. Peace.